Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jamie. I make videos about knitting, yarn, fiber arts. Today's video is one I'm very excited about because I'm going to be showing you everything that I knit in 2024. This is a video that I have filmed for the past 2 years, so this is my third year-end recap, and it's one that I really enjoy making. It's a really nice opportunity to kind of look back at the year that has been in knits, like the year in knits, I guess, and to show you everything I've done and kind of like take a little trip down memory lane and kind of revisit all the projects that I made this year. It's a pretty straightforward concept, but it is one that I really enjoy because, I don't know, I kind of get nostalgic about like the year ending, and I think this year specifically, I don't have as many projects as I have had in years past. This is probably the least amount of finished projects that I've had in 1 year, maybe since I started knitting. But I don't think that reflects negatively on the year at all. It's still a lot. Like you can see the pile I have behind me. This is pretty much all the projects I made this year, minus 2 that I don't have with me. Yeah, I don't think that reflects negatively. I think it just shows where I'm at with my knitting. I'm still knitting a lot, but maybe not as much as I was before. Last year was a crazy year for me because I was writing my book. So just for that alone, I did 18 samples, and that was only in the first half of the year. So I had the whole rest of the year to knit other things. So naturally I was gonna probably be knitting more than normal because I was doing that huge project. And I think the year before that, I was doing markets. So I was knitting a lot for that as well. So a lot of the stuff that I made were not stuff that I was keeping. It was stuff that I was making with the intention of selling. I haven't done markets this year. I did not write a book this year. So my output was definitely less. But I also made a kind of, I guess, conscious choice to experiment a little bit more. I wasn't designing as much as I did last year, obviously. But when I was being quite intentional with what I was making and really trying to like challenge myself, push myself out of my comfort zone, try new things, new techniques and constructions, trying to design with thinner yarns, which I didn't do as much, especially with my book being a book for chunky knits. So this year I really just wanted to like change it up because I feel like I was getting a bit monotonous with my knitting. I also followed quite a few patterns from other designers, so it was a bit of a mixed bag. I also started a part-time job a few months ago. I think it was in August. So for the second half of this year, I definitely haven't had as much knitting time as I did when I was doing this full time. And that's okay. I haven't really traveled as much this year either, and I tend to get quite a lot of knitting done when I'm traveling. I did a fair amount of travel in the 2 years before this year, so yeah, this year was just kind of, you know, a different year, and obviously it was a very exciting year. My book, Fast and Fabulous Knits, was released this year in April in the US, and then kind of over the next few months after that, it was released around the world and here in Australia. So that's been really exciting, and I guess that's kind of taken up a lot of my like brain energy, but obviously the book is done, so it wasn't really taking up my time in terms of knitting, but it was obviously a huge highlight of this year. And you know, a few other exciting things happened which I will talk about when we go through the projects. All of that being said, before I get into this, I feel like I do need to make this disclaimer. I feel like it is kind of like standard practice at this point because I never want anyone to walk away from any of my videos feeling negatively about themselves. That is absolutely not the point of this video. Please do not compare yourself. I'm sure there are many of you who have made more projects than me this year, and I'm sure there are many of you who have made less. Maybe some of you have made a similar amount. Firstly, everyone's lives are different, everyone's time commitments are different, everyone's speed of which they knit are different. I also want to say, like, this is everything I finished this year. I have so many whips that are just like hiding that I didn't finish this year. So I'm not always the most productive knitter. I definitely have projects that have been sitting for longer than I care to admit that are not finished, and those will hopefully get finished next year and they will show up in next year's video. This is just what I was able to achieve. I was a full-time knitwear designer and content creator and knit fiber artist, whatever, for the first half of this year. And then second half I've been part-time, but obviously still spending a lot of my time doing this. So that obviously allows me to have some more time to make more things. And I just don't want anyone to compare themselves and then like feel like they were not making enough or not being productive enough. It's so meaningless. Like I had a look at my previous 2 videos and like it has significantly dropped the number of pieces I finished. And I don't look back at this year and think, oh, like I did so bad this year. Like I look back at the projects that I did this year and I'm really, really proud of them. I feel like pretty much every single project kind of, this is gonna sound so like dramatic, but like it represents an achievement for me because I feel like I learned something new from pretty much every single project. Like I feel like I don't look back at this year and the amount of projects that I made negatively at all, even though it's less than previous years. So if you made less than me, you should just be proud that you're knitting at all. Like, it is so incredible that we are like making our own things and spending our time even in the year of 2024. Like, this is no longer COVID lockdowns. Like, there are probably so many other things that we could be doing with our time. You know, we also could be doom scrolling. I do a lot of that as well. Maybe if I spent less time doom scrolling, I'd be able to make more. But it is so cool that we are like making things ourselves, and there is no like amount of things that is like good or bad. I hope that kind of summarizes. I'm sure you get the point. But yeah, disclaimer, please don't compare yourself to me. Be proud of however many pieces you finished, and whichever pieces that you did finish, and whichever ones you didn't finish, which I'm sure we all have them. There's always next year to finish them. And yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling because I'm gonna get into trying on all these pieces. I'm gonna talk a little bit about each one. Let's get into it. So as you can see, I have these two piles here. I couldn't really put everything in one pile. It was gonna fall over. I've gone through my camera roll. I've tried to put everything in chronological order. So I'm gonna try on everything going from the start of the year to the end of the year, but it might not be 100% accurate because I'm not the best at documenting. Even though I make content, I'm really not the best at actually like documenting things like when I finish them. Sometimes like I take like weeks to take photos of things. So I did my best. I think it's pretty accurate, but it might not be like 100% accurate. Like I said, there are actually two pieces that I can't include in this video because one of them is a secret design that I don't have currently with me, but maybe I'll just include it in next year's video, even though I knit it this year, or maybe I won't, but you'll see it next year anyway. So yeah. And then the other one is a pair of socks that I knit for my boyfriend, and he has them. I don't even think I have a photo of them, but I made a pair of socks for my boyfriend. They took forever because he has big feet. Bigger feet than me, at least. Those are the only projects I believe that I made this year that I don't have with me. So this is everything else, and we're going to start from the beginning. Okay, first up, I think this one actually takes the cake for my most worn finished object of the year. I mean, obviously it does have an advantage with it being the first one that I finished, but even then, I mean, I feel like it is such a versatile piece that I wore it all the way from like maybe like March all the way through the year because it's not super thick. So I could kind of wear it once the weather started to like cool down a little bit. And then once it got really cold, I just layer it with like scarves and jackets over it. It's just such a versatile piece in that way. And I've just been obsessed. I mean, I haven't really done a formal calculation, but from my gut feeling, this is my most worn piece this year. And it is my Monday sweater by Petite Knit. Starting off with a very classic, very simple, it's very basic, but I think that's probably why I wore it so much. And you'd be surprised, but I actually don't really have many pieces like this in my knitted wardrobe. If you've been following me for a long time or watching my previous videos where I've shown everything I knit, like I love texture, I love cables, I love lace, like I love exploring different stitch patterns. I love doing color work. Like the less boring the knit, the better for me. But sometimes you just want to wear something a little bit more simple and I guess just like basic is the right word. Obviously I had to do it in a fun color because you won't find me wearing neutrals. I just felt like I needed something basic and a staple. So I ended up knitting the Monday sweater by Petite Knit. I did a more cropped version as is expected with me, and this is yarn that I bought last year on my trip when I went to Scandinavia, and I think I bought this in Sweden. Actually might have been the first yarn purchase I made on that trip, and it ended up probably being the first yarn that I used after the trip. I have still not made my way through all the yarn that I bought on that trip, but we won't talk about that. But yeah, I used Chaos yarn. I think it's the organic merino. Oh my gosh, I'm already messing up the names. And they're organic brushed alpaca. I think that's right. I might be wrong. I think the colorway is like Charming. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. But it's this beautiful like coral pink. The color is so beautiful. I feel like it just complements me really well, and that's why I probably just kept pulling for it. And it just brought me like a lot of joy during the winter, especially just like this really fun pink. And yeah, the pattern is very, very well written. You know, it fit me perfectly. I mean, I think the neckline has like stretched quite a bit. So I might even put some elastic in because I feel like it definitely wasn't as stretched out when I first finished it. But like I said, I have worn this a lot. It's held up really well. It has pilled a little bit, but like I said, I've really worn it quite a lot. It's still super soft. And I will say I didn't start this in 2024. I think I started it in December last year, and then I finished it around the end of January. So that is the first piece. It makes me so happy to be wearing this piece again. If it wasn't obvious, and if you haven't been following along, this is my Eras Tour vest. I knit this in January, February this year to wear to the Eras tour. I went to the Eras tour. Actually, I ended up going 3 times. I wore this to the first night that I went, which was Melbourne night 3. It just makes me so happy and nostalgic to wear it. I don't think I've worn it since then. I'm kind of just keeping it as like a sentimental, like I feel like it's like a work of art. I haven't even shown you the whole thing. This is the back. I did the Lover House on the back using so much of my scrap yarn, and it was a labor of love. It was a whole thing. You can go back. I did 3 vlogs showing the whole process of making this. So if you want to see, highly recommend going back and watching those to see kind of what I went through in the design process of putting this whole thing together, because it was a journey. On the front, it says it's been a long time coming, which it certainly had, even though it's obviously been so long now, since almost a year since I actually went to the concert. But at the time it felt like, oh my God, it felt like I'd been waiting forever. And then I did little symbols to represent every era. They were all, or almost all of them were actually crocheted. I have not crocheted since then, and I really don't crochet very often, but I ended up doing like a crochet applique moment, which I just feel like turned out so cute. I think I did crochet, yeah, I crocheted all of them except for this one, which was the little cardigan for the folklore era. But yeah, I can just show you them all. So we have the cowgirl hat for debut, cowgirl boot for fearless, 13 for speak now, the little scarf for red, the seagull seagull, I don't really know if this even looks like a seagull, the tempted seagull for 1999, snake for reputation, a little heart for lover, cardigan, as I said, for folklore, the little tree for evermore, and the little star and the moon for midnights. So I was just, yeah, so happy with how this came together, and it was so special to be able to wear something handmade on the night. Obviously, best night of my life, etc., etc. The yarn I used, the base yarn was Isaja Eco Soft, I'm pretty sure is what it's called. And I also bought that yarn on my trip. I actually held it double, I'm pretty sure. So it was quite thick, but luckily it wasn't too hot on the night that I went, so I wasn't dying. I don't know what else I really want to say about this. I could probably talk about it forever, and I already have in my vlog. But yeah, this was a labor of love and something I will definitely keep forever. But yeah, this is piece number 2. Okay, this is piece number 3. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to include this in this video, but luckily a few days ago this arrived in the mail because it had been living in Finland for the past, I think, 5 or so months, maybe more. I sent it off in May, June, July, August, 7 months, sorry, I can't do math clearly. But yeah, this is my Chloe sweater, and yeah, I finally received the sample back from Lane Publishing for their 52 Weeks of Chunky Knits book, which this was written for. It was the biggest honor to be included in one of their books. I just still can't even believe that they wanted one of my designs in their books. But yeah, I'm hoping the lighting, I don't know if the lighting's really doing this justice. I feel like if I come a bit closer, you can see the details more. But yeah, this is the Chloe sweater. It is a top-down chunky knit, a beautiful lace detailing all along the yoke, and a half-twisted rib mock neck, and there's also half-twisted ribbing on the sleeves and at the bottom. This was knit up in Woolen Works Chunky Merino in the colorway Flat Feed from the Barbie collection. The jumper is named after Chloe, who is behind Woolen Works. If you don't know that and you've been watching my videos, I feel like you haven't been listening. Chloe's like one of my best friends, so it was really special to be able to like name a jumper after her and use her yarn and kind of like have that be shown in like an international publication like Lane that is, you know, distributed all over the world. So yeah, very, very exciting for both of us, and I just love how this piece turned out. I have missed it. I never got to wear it this winter, which was very sad for me, but next winter I'm sure this is going to be heavy in the rotation, but obviously now it's like too hot to wear it, so I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer. This was, I think, my first top down, no, maybe not, maybe my second, one of my first top down designs that like isn't a raglan. So that's something that I've been trying a lot this year. You'll see in the other designs that I show you, but it wasn't as scary as I thought, even with like a lace pattern. So I was really proud of myself for like doing that, especially like with something that's gonna be published in a book. Okay, up next is a test knit that I did this year. So this is the Heartless top by Midsummer Knits. This was her first ever pattern release, so I was super honored to be able to test that for her. Emma is also a content creator. She makes videos here on YouTube and posts content on Instagram and everything. This is a design that she had been kind of teasing for a long time, and finally she wrote the pattern, and yeah, I was lucky enough to test it for her. I actually haven't worn this yet, I will be completely honest. Well, I did finish it in like March or April So it hasn't exactly been tank top weather since then here in Australia. I also kind of want to fix it because as you can see, it has this really adorable little heart cut out in the middle. But if I like move around a little bit and like live in it for a bit, it kind of starts to look, like less like a heart and more like a weird circle. And I think that is not because of the pattern. I think that is due to the wire that I used. Sorry to blow your mind, but there is a wire actually knit into this I-cord edging, but I'm pretty sure the wire that I bought is not correct and not actually what was specified in the pattern. I think I thought I was interpreting it correctly, but I wasn't. And this wire is actually really, really flimsy and doesn't really give it any structure. I mean, maybe it does a little bit, but not as much structure as I need it to. Like I need it to stay where it is and it's just not. So I think at some point I'm going to figure out the right wire to get, and I'm gonna just undo the I-cord edging and fix that little part because yeah, I feel like if I wear it, it's just gonna look really strange. But I do have plans to wear this. I'm sure some of you might already be able to guess, but despite the fact that this tour has not yet been announced, like we don't know if it's even coming to Australia, I would love to wear this to the Sabrina Carpenter Short and Sweet tour. If it comes to Australia, it just is so perfect. I mean, I don't really feel like she does the heart these days. Like I feel like this was very much an emails I can't send thing where she would wear a lot of heart cutouts, but it's still very Sabrina. And I know a lot of people have worn theirs to the concerts in the US, but hopefully she comes to Australia next year. If she doesn't, I will literally cry. Like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I'm going. But firstly, it hasn't been announced, and secondly, it's going to be so hard to get tickets, so wish me luck. I knitted this using Ching Fibre. I don't know if it's their Dashing DK. I think it's just like their other DK base. I'm not sure. Anyway, one of their DK bases. It's super, super soft and beautiful. I think it's the colorway like Sherbet, I think is what it's called. It's from their summer collection from a few years ago. I think I bought it in 2022, and I was just saving it for the right project and decided to use it for this one. And I feel like it was perfect. It's just a gorgeous little pastel, speckled, beautiful colorway. I will fix this and I will wear it because it is just too cute and I don't want it to go to waste. So yeah, that is this one. Like I said, the pattern is out if you want to make a cute little tank top, especially if you're maybe in Europe and you have tickets already to go see the Short and Sweet tour. This is a perfect outfit if you want to wear something handmade, or if you're here in Australia and you're just holding out hope like me, maybe you might want to wait to see if it actually happens. But I was over prepared, okay? So next up is actually one of my book patterns. This is one of 2 second samples from my book that I made this year. This is my Lily cardigan, one of my favorite patterns from the book. It's just an adorable cardigan with a beautiful little lace motif on the front and on the sleeves as well, and at the back. The first sample that I made for the actual book was using Take Care Mohair from Wool and the Gang. This one is using Woolen Works DK Suri Silk, which was a new base that she brought out for the Barbie collection. It is so soft. I feel like I can't even talk enough about how soft it is and how beautiful it feels on the skin. It's just so luxurious. It is like super, super soft and silky, obviously, because there's silk in it. So it takes a bit of getting used to in terms of actually knitting it, but once you kind of get the groove of things, it's just so nice. And of course, wearing it as well, like no itchiness whatsoever. It's a great alternative if mohair is something that you don't react the best to. This is in the colorway Hi Barbie, which was also from the Barbie collection. It is just such a gorgeous pink and white little marshmallow dream cloud. I don't even know all the words. And yeah, I really, really love it. I also got these cute little white buttons, which I feel like just like work perfectly. And yeah, this is a really great transitional piece. I feel like I've worn it quite a bit in kind of like autumn and spring. I think I'll bring it with me on my trip to Perth for like if it does get cold at night or something, then I have something to wear. I don't really think I'm going to need to bring any thick jumpers, but I think this will be a good little lightweight piece to have, especially for when we go down south. We're actually going down southwest coast and then along the south coast all the way to Esperance. So it's probably not going to be as hot as it is in Perth. So I feel like this will definitely come to good use, so I'll be most likely taking that with me. But yeah, I just decided to make another one because I just kind of wanted to see how it would work up in the Suri base, and I actually made this one a little bit longer than my other one. I also just wanted to be able to show kind of how it looks a little bit longer because I know the cropped look isn't for everyone. Some people might still consider this cropped, but for me, if it is not sitting, like this is where my pants sit, so if it is sitting below my pants, like it's not cropped. That's just like how I define cropped because I wear everything high-waisted. So yeah, the pattern is, as I said, in my book, but I also sell all the patterns from my book individually on my website, on Ravelry, and on Etsy. So if you just wanted to make this one, you don't want to get the entire book, that's totally valid and you can do that. So Yeah. Okay, next up we have our first finished pair of socks for the year, and they are these bad boys. I feel like I did a lot more sock knitting this year than I did last year, but I feel like I thought I was going to do more than I did in the end. But you know, we still accomplished quite a few pairs of socks. This is the first pair, and it's I think it's the DRK Everyday Socks by Andrea Mowry, and it's this really fun pair of ribbed socks. I just wanted to try something different because all the other socks pretty much that I made are just in stockinette. So I wanted to try a ribbed sock. I will say they have stretched quite a bit, so I don't really know what to do about that. Like, as you can see, especially like around the cuff, it's like significantly wider than this part, but I have worn them a lot. But yeah, they are quite stretched, but I guess that maybe that's just what happens. I don't know if anyone has any tips. Let me know. But I think they still look really cute. The yarn is also from Wool & Works. It's the colorway Neon Lights, and it's their sock base, obviously. This was my first time doing a Fleegle heel. I ended up doing a Fleegle heel again when I made the pair that I won't be showing you for my partner Asher. I don't love a Fleegle heel, especially for a stockinette, so I probably won't be doing it again, but I don't know why, I just felt the urge to do it again for his socks, but they're not very customizable. So yeah, I kind of struggled with trying to get it to fit him perfectly, but these fit me pretty well, so no complaints. And I do think it looks pretty cool with the ribbing and like how the decreases and increases and all that kind of go. They're very cute and cozy, and they were really fun to knit. All right, next up is my second sample of my Somewhere Over the Raglan jumper from my book. This probably takes the second place trophy, I think. Like I said, I haven't really done any actual calculations, but I feel like this is probably my next most worn piece, especially during, you know, the colder months during the winter. I wore this all the time. Something about these colors, they're just so wearable to me. Obviously you can see I still very much do wear bright colors. I have not strayed away from wearing bright colors, but compared to the first sample of this, which was very, very bright, I really wanted to make just like a more neutral version. It's really pastel, it's not neutral. This yarn is from Wool & the Gang. It's their Alpacino Merino, my favorite yarn from them. So always a treat to work with, and this was especially a treat because they actually sent me this yarn, which was so nice. They just randomly reached out and were like, we want to send you yarn, and I am never going to say no, especially when it's from Wool & the Gang. So yeah, I was like, well, I've been meaning to make another one of these. So this is the perfect opportunity because I won't have to pay for it. The colorways are ivory white, cameo rose, lilac punch, powder blue, and then eucalyptus green. If there's one thing I know, it's my Wool & the Gang colorways most of the time. This color combo is just, yeah, like I said, it's just so wearable to me. I feel like the green kind of tones it down a little bit and makes it feel a little bit more neutral, but obviously there's still those pops of color. It's just like very wintry. I also made this one a little bit longer than my first sample, and I feel like it's a really good length, especially for the winter, just for making sure that I don't get cold and like the air doesn't kind of blow underneath, because this obviously is a little bit oversized. That is this one of my favorites, and one that I feel like I will definitely continue to wear next year when it is not hot like it is right now. Next up is the 6-in-1 top, which was another test knit that I did. I think this was, yeah, the only other test knit that I did this year, and it was for my friend Andrea from Oops and Loops. I've wanted to test knit for her for a while because I've made some of her patterns before, and she is such an incredible designer and just the loveliest person and has been so supportive of me. So I wanted to support her and test knit for her, especially when I saw this design. I actually had the exact yarn that it called for already in my stash, so I was like, this is perfect. I've been meaning to find something to use this yarn for, and this was the perfect piece. It's really cool. You can actually wear it either way. You can either wear it with like this at the back, so you have an open back, or you can wear it as I'm wearing it now, where you have like the beautiful kind of like square neckline. It's knit in Malabrigo Rios. I think this colorway is water green. It's a nice light worsted weight yarn, and it's just really, really pretty, this color, and not a color that I use super often. Also, this type of piece, like something, I don't think I've ever knit anything with like such form-fitting sleeves and with this like cut. So yeah, it was like a unique new knitting experience for me. So that was really fun, and yeah, it was a pleasure to test knit. I definitely feel like I need to wear this one more. I don't know why, I always forget that I have it, but now I'm like reminding myself like I need to wear it more. It might be a bit hot right now, but maybe in like autumn, I feel like this will be a really good piece. It has some gorgeous bust shaping, and it's just really well written as always. Her patterns are always so well written. So the pattern is out if you're interested. There's also a version to make it with cap sleeves or to make it sleeveless. So it's a really versatile piece, and yeah, highly recommend, and it was so much fun to test knit. Also, I will actually say I did actually film my entire process of knitting this. So if you want to hear me talk more about it, go and watch that video. You can see the entire process from start to finish and my overall thoughts in more depth in that video. But yeah, that was like one of the only project vlogs that I did this year. I don't do them enough, but this was one of them. All right, up next is a special one because this was actually the first pattern that I wrote this year because, well, no, second, because of the Chloe sweater. But the first pattern I released this year, and I actually didn't even release it until August because it just took a while. The whole writing, editing, testing process, it took ages and it kind of delayed things. I was hoping to release this a little bit earlier, but you know, it was more important that the pattern was good than that it just got released. Anyway, I'm really happy with how it turned out in the end. This is my Heartstopper Tee, one that I have been wearing quite a lot in this past like spring, and even now when it's not too hot, I find myself wearing it a lot. It's also using Woolen Works yarn in the colorway Rufus. It has this really fun lace detailing on the sleeves and at the hem, which kind of looks like little hearts, which is super cute, hence the name, and this nice I-cord edging around the neckline. And this is actually a bottom-up Raglan, so that was a first for me in terms of designing. I've done one other bottom-up Raglan, which was the Jenny sweater, which I knit last year for my mum. But yeah, this was my first time doing like a tee in that construction and obviously designing it myself. So it definitely was a challenge. I also made this a compound Raglan, so it's not just like, you know, you're decreasing every second row, like the decrease rates change and they're different for every size to make the perfect fit, but it was definitely a challenge and a difficult thing to navigate, especially being my first time. And yeah, it was a lot. It took me like weeks to work with my tag editor to get everything right, but we finally got there. And yeah, I think it really paid off because like my testers photos, like it just looks like it fits everyone so well. I was very proud of myself for this one. It's also a little bit longer. I don't know if you guys have been noticing. I've been making my pieces slightly less cropped this year. I don't know what it is. I think I'm just trying to like cater to the masses because I honestly still like wearing my pieces cropped, but I'm trying to find the balance somewhere in the middle, which I feel like this piece definitely is. It's not too long, it's not too short. It's just right. Really proud of this pattern. I feel like it needs a little bit more love, to be honest, because I really put a lot of effort into it and I think it's just really beautiful. So yeah, I feel like this is a really good piece to have in your trans-seasonal wardrobe, even your summer wardrobe if you live somewhere that doesn't get too hot. It's knit with DK weight. And yeah, it's fun if you want to learn a new construction. It may be bottom up, but it is still knit entirely in the round. No, almost entirely in the round. Obviously the neckline shaping is knit flat, but it's knit mostly in the round and it's entirely seamless. So you don't have to deal with seams. And yeah, it's worth it for little hearts because if I made it top down, they would be upside down. So that's why, if you're wondering why it's bottom up, that's why. But I feel like it's worth it. Okay, the first pile is done. I do feel like there are less pieces in the second pile, but I also might be wrong. I don't know. Next up are these socks that I made. For these and all the socks that you'll see from now on, there might only be one other pair, but anyway, for all the socks that I'm honestly probably ever gonna make, they're all from Summer Lee's The Sock Project book. I'm sure you're familiar with it. If you have been around this year, you would know about that book. It has been like a huge bestseller and for good reason. It's an incredible book. Patterns are so well written and it's just such a great staple, especially if you're new to sock knitting, which I would still consider myself to be. I'm definitely not a sock knitting guru by any means, so I've just found it really helpful and I've learned a lot, and yeah, it's just been such a great resource. So these are just like the basic Fleegle heel vanilla sock pattern, I guess. I used this yarn that I bought from She's Crafty a few years ago. It's from Lovely Little Yarns. I can't remember the name of the colorway, but unfortunately they're actually not in business anymore. So if you want it, you can't get it. So really sorry about that, but I'm really happy that I found a project for this because it's such a beautiful yarn and I was holding on to it for quite a while. I don't know if the camera's really doing it justice, but it's this beautiful rainbow pastel colorway and they're just such a fun pop of color. Not that I need a pop of color with most of my outfits, but I feel like they complement a lot of the colors that I wear, a lot of pink, so it's been nice to have these pink socks to go with them. I don't really have a ton to say because they're just vanilla socks, but I also feel like I finish these fairly quickly, at least one of them. I always finish one sock really fast and then the other takes me forever, but I feel like these ones I kind of got through pretty fast because I was really just enamored with the yarn. All right, up next is one you may have actually not seen because I did 2 samples of this and I don't actually know if I ever even showed this one. So this might be a debut for this one, I guess. But the second one I'm going to show you, not next, but the one after. I'm trying to go in order, okay? But this is my Sorrento Shrug, the first sample that I made for my collaboration that I was lucky enough to do this year with Ching Fibre, one of my favorite yarn brands. I talked about this in one of my most recent videos in more detail, but yeah, super exciting thing I got to work on this year. We did a mystery box called Summer in Sorrento, which was an idea that I had. It was like all inspired by summer in southern Italy, and I just really wanted to like bring that to life. And I also got to create a pattern for that, as well as creating some of the colorways that ended up in the box and all the other fun things that also ended up in the box. It's a whole thing. Not going to get into it in too much depth now because the point is obviously the actual design and the project that I made. So this was the first sample that I did. These actually aren't really the colorways that ended up in it. I think only one of these, this one here, this coral reef colorway, that one did end up making it into the final box, and you'll see it again in the other sample that I made. But yeah, all the other colorways were just kind of sample colorways that they had sent, which were existing colorways that they had that they thought might be kind of in the vibe, so that we could just get a feel for what I was thinking, and then we kind of went from there. But I kind of needed to get onto knitting and writing the pattern because I probably wasn't going to have enough time if I waited until I received the actual yarn. So I ended up knitting my first sample using the yarn that I had on hand that they had sent me so that I could get to writing the pattern and get it into testing. And then I ended up knitting the second one, I think along with my testers, which was really fun. But yeah, this is the Sorrento Shrug. I don't feel like I've tied this up very well. Okay, that looks a bit better. It's knitted using Melted Baby Suri and Dashing Sassy, which is their like single ply merino yarn, and then their Melted Baby Suri is like a sport weight Suri yarn, which is one of my all-time favorites. It will come up again later in this video. But yeah, absolutely love this design. It's knit up all in one piece, and I love the little detail here with the straps and how I've kind of combined the 2 yarns together, and then got the I-cord edging. I just love it. It's my first shrug pattern, and also the way that the pattern was actually size graded and written was a really kind of new and unique way that I've done it, and something I haven't done before, which was like not made to measure, but you can like follow different sizes for different sections of the pattern to get the perfect fit for your body. And so yeah, I'm really happy with like how that all kind of came together and how I was able to do that. And yeah, I don't know, I'm just really proud of it. And obviously to have worked with one of my favorite companies was an absolute dream. So this is the first edition of the Sorrento Shrug. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because honestly, this is probably the only one out of all of these projects that I'm not happy with it. And that's just a sad thing to say. I actually almost wasn't going to include it because it's been hiding in a drawer. I've just like put it away because I didn't want to have to be reminded of it because it took me so long and for it to have not worked out exactly how I wanted. I guess maybe I have high standards because some people might say this looks fine, but I don't know, it's not what I wanted it to be. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. I honestly may end up frogging it and re-knitting it when I'm like emotionally ready to do that, because yeah, this was just, it was such a labor of love. It took me so long, and then for it to not work out is just something that honestly doesn't happen to me that often. And when it does, especially when it's your own design, it's just very frustrating. Yeah, I just kind of needed to put it aside. So not to be a downer. I mean, there are parts of it that I like, but there are other parts, spoiler alert, it's the collar, that I am not at all happy with how it turned out. So we will have to unfortunately deal with that next year, I think. But yeah, this is like, it doesn't have a name, it's a design that I did this year. It makes me really sad because I was so excited about this design. So it's really frustrating. I guess when I like fold the collar over, it doesn't look as bad. Yeah, but that wasn't really the goal. I wasn't really looking for like a polo. I was wanting like a zip. And it's not what I wanted. But there are parts of this that I'm really proud of. It has this really nice, cool elastic, and the shoulder shaping. This is like my first time attempting like a proper drop shoulder where you have like actual shoulder shaping. I think there are better ways I could have done it. I think now I know a lot more kind of about that construction, and I would do it differently if I was to do it again. So I probably am going to do it again. I probably will do it differently. But yeah, it was a good, I guess, first experiment. Obviously, like I did a whole zip installation. I did like a whole video where I was doing this. And I think the zip actually looked, like the zip installation itself looked good, but the actual collar, not so much. So yeah, I'm gonna have to probably just deal with this in the new year. This will be next year Jamie's problem. I do really love this yarn, so I just don't want it to go to waste, which is probably why I'm going to frog it rather than just tossing it aside. It is Kama Rose Snefnug, which I bought on my trip last year, and the colorway, I think it's Coral. It's really, really pretty orange, and I've really been enjoying orange this year. And yeah, hopefully eventually it will kind of work out. I don't even know. I may end up frogging it and like making something completely different, but I feel like the odds are is I'll probably end up reknitting this, and hopefully it will work out better next time. Okay, so this is obviously my second Sorrento Shrug. These are the actual colorways that ended up in the box. The light blue is called Beach Glove. This one obviously is Coral Reef. The dark blue is called Blue Grotto. And then the yellow and orange speckled colorway is Limoncello. 3 out of 4 of these colors, like I said, are colorways that I helped to create and develop, which was really, really cool and exciting and a really fun thing to be able to do, and to be able to see my ideas like come to life. The Chink Fibre team did such a brilliant job. I feel like I've already talked about the design, so this is just kind of like the actual version. I will definitely be taking this one with me to Perth. I've just been dreaming about wearing this on the beach, and I'm finally going to be able to do that. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. And I need to double check, but I'm going to be able to release this pattern on its own, because right now it's only available through the mystery box, but I'm almost certain that very soon I'm going to be allowed to release it on my website and Ravelry, etc. So I will let you guys know as soon as it is available. If you didn't get a mystery box but you would like to still knit this pattern, it's coming soon. So stay on the lookout for that. Keep your eyes peeled, and I will keep you guys updated. All right, up next is definitely in my like top 5 probably most worn and also just favorite knits of the year. I mean, I'm not ranking everything, but this one is definitely one of my favorites of the year. This is my Semper Sweater V-neck by the Knit Purl Girl. I knitted this using Knitting for Olive merino. I think it's just the normal merino, and their soft silk mohair. I think the colorway was Red Currant. It's this beautiful red. I was just in desperate need of a red jumper because I did not own any. I had no red in my entire wardrobe, and I was like, we need to change that. And I'm so happy I did, because I also bought these shoes around the same time, and they are just like, as you can see, like the perfect match. Like these are the exact same color, and I have been wearing these two together so many times, and it never gets old to me. The sandwich theory in full effect, and this is just the perfect jumper. I have nothing else to say. It's just perfect. I said I have nothing else to say, but I actually do have other things to say. I did make modification to this jumper. I ended up adding a split hem. I made the front, surprise, surprise, more cropped, and the back a little bit longer than the front. Probably still not as long as the actual pattern, but longer than the front. So it has this nice relaxed split uneven hem, which I really like the look of. The mohair isn't too itchy. I love their mohair. And it's just perfect. I literally don't know what else to say. Like, it just fits me perfectly. I don't know where red has been all my life, basically. I'm very happy I made this. Sophie is such an inspiration to me, and I had been meaning to knit one of her patterns for so long. I'm sure most of you follow her. She's unbelievable. She's so talented, and this did not disappoint. Her writing style is so thorough. It's just so carefully considered. She holds herself to a very high standard, and it absolutely pays off because, yeah, her patterns are brilliant, and I highly, highly recommend them. Fun fact, I actually wore this jumper to the job interview for the job I ended up getting. So I would say it is a lucky jumper. All right, up next we have another pair of socks. I think this is the last pair of socks that I'll be showing you in this video, and I think they're my favorite that I made this year. These are the Harriet socks from Summer Lee Knit's Sock Project book. It has this beautiful cable detail along the side, and I'm so in love. I knit the first one of these in like 2-3 days. Like, it was so quick. I just was working on nothing else and I was obsessed. And then I knit the second one, maybe a little bit longer, but I feel like overall I did finish these pretty quickly because I really wanted to get some wear out of them before it got too hot to wear knit socks. So they're definitely not as worn as the other ones because I finished them later in the year, but I will definitely be wearing them more next year, and they look so cute with those red shoes that I just showed you. So it's a vibe. The yarn is from Joka Momo Fibers or Textiles. I can't remember the name. I think it was like Strawberry Shortcake or something along those lines. I'm really sorry if I've forgotten. I will check when I'm editing this and I'll put it on the screen, the name of the colorway. It's so beautiful. It actually knit up so much nicer than I originally kind of expected it to. I love when that happens. It's just got these beautiful orange, red and pink speckles throughout. It's the perfect amount of variegation for a cable to still be really visible, but also still have that you know, fun hand-dyed look. And I think this heel flap and gusset is definitely my favorite sock construction that I've tried so far. I think so far I've tried German short row, this one, and the Flegel heel, and this is definitely my favorite so far. I know there's a few others, like I haven't done an afterthought or a forethought heel, so maybe next year I will try those, but yeah, so far this is my favorite. I've come back to it now, I think 3 times. It's a great construction, and this is also my first time doing a cable in a sock, so yay for that. It wasn't as scary as I thought it would be. This is my Not So Basic cardigan. The pattern, it's basically ready to come out. I just need to put the final finishing touches together and go through the last little bits of feedback, but I'm hoping to get this out before the new year, so there's a chance that when this video comes out the pattern might already be out. If it is, it will be linked in the description. I used Chelsea Yarns Boucle, it's like Chelsea Yarns Luxe DK Boucle, something like that, in the colorway Rose Gold. I absolutely love how the boucle knit up. I think this is my first like proper boucle project, and it comes with its own challenges. You can't really like see your stitches very well, but it knits up so nicely and is so nice and soft and cozy, and I've been wearing this so much throughout the spring. It's been like the perfect little spring cardi, especially with these little flower buttons, which I feel like is such a cute little spring touch. So if you're wanting a nice little spring project, I think this will be coming out kind of the perfect time for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, because you can knit it during winter and then it'll be ready to wear in spring. I did some German short row shaping at the back, which was my first time doing that in one of my own designs. You honestly can't even really see it, which is kind of the point, especially with the boucle. So yeah, it's kind of created this really seamless shoulder section. You can't even really see like where the 2 sections join, so I feel like that worked out really well. Once again, also a little bit longer. If I was to make this again, I'd probably make it a little bit shorter, but I do still like the length. And once again, it has a split hem, except this time it's an even split hem, so the back and the front are the same length, but they are split just to kind of create that more slouchy fit. And yeah, I don't have a ton else to say about it. I named it the Not So Basic Cardigan because I feel like it has quite a few little elements that you wouldn't expect, just because it looks like a pretty basic, simple cardigan, but we have a provisional cast on, we've got German short rows, etc. And yeah, I just thought that was a fun name because there's a little bit more than meets the eye, but obviously it is still like a basic staple to have in your collection, so it's basic, but it's also not so basic to knit, if that makes sense. But yeah, that is this one. All right, up next is another design. I have done so much designing in this like second half of the year, I feel like, whereas the first half I feel like I was still probably kind of like recovering from my post-book burnout. But yeah, this is another one of my designs. This one is also currently in testing and I reckon will be released in the new year. Also a lovely perfect spring piece. I feel like quite versatile because you can layer it or wear it on its own. This is the Party Cardi vest, which is my actually my first cardi vest project, like vest with buttons basically. I've never done one before. I don't know why. Not even just not designed one, like I've actually never made one, which I feel like is crazy because I make so many cardigans, I make so many vests, and I've just never combined the two. So this is me doing that. This is using Ching Fibre Melted Baby Suri. I did say it would be coming up again. This is the piece that I used it again for. It's one of my favorite yarns to knit with, and it's one that I've designed with quite a few times now. I love it. It's so soft. It's just so nice and lightweight, and I just love how it knits up so much. And the colorways that I used are just so beautiful. I got this yarn at Bendigo at the Sheep and Wool Festival, so I didn't buy it from Ching Fibre directly. So I think they're kind of old colorways that they just happen to be at the market. So I don't know if you're able to get them now, but the colorways are, I think, Champagne, Hope, and Floating. It's like this pretty variegated colorway that I used in the stripes, and then I used the purple and the yellow as well for the ribbing and the button band, etc. It has a really nice double knitted button band and these really cute buttons that I got at like a little button shop, and they told me they were vintage. I don't know if that's true, but I hope that is because they were not cheap. This one is also worked from the top down, and it's a pretty simple construction, and the pattern is going to be written so you don't have to do it with stripes. It's totally up to you if you want to do stripes, you want to do more colors than this, you want to do less, you want to do one color. It's pretty versatile, so this one will be coming soon. I feel like it's just so cute. Like, cute is just like the word. I definitely plan on making another one. I'm not sure when I'm going to do that, but I do plan on making another one in the 2 blue colorways from my Ching Fibre mystery box, the Blue Grotto and Beach Club, because I think that will be really fun, and those will just really pop and will look really nice, just like those two on their own. But yes, so this is the Party Cardi vest coming very soon. Okay, this next one is so random because I never make beanies, and honestly, with this current haircut that I have, I think you can see why. Beanies and me aren't really friends, but I did need to make one. I'm taking this off. I'm sorry. I actually can't. I can't take myself seriously when I look like that. Beanies and I are not really friends, but I did need to make one because I went on this hike in Tasmania and it was going to be really cold. And I was like, I'm going to need a beanie, and I feel like if I make one, I'll be more likely to wear it. So I used this leftover Malabrigo Rasta that I had to make this beanie. I think I just found this free pattern on Ravelry. I can't even remember what it's called. It's a really basic pattern. I will find it and put it on the screen. This is the pattern. Yeah, I just found it on Ravelry. It was free, so that was good. I'm just not super experienced with beanies, so I just wanted to make sure I had a pattern because I literally cut this on like the day before we left. So I didn't really have time to like be trying to figure it out myself, basically. And then Chloe gave me this little pom-pom to sew at the top, which I think was really cute. And when my hair was longer, it didn't look as bad. I did actually wear it. So I wouldn't wear it now with my hair at this length, but I generally have shorter hair during summer and then longer hair during winter. So I will probably, hopefully, if I need to, wear this again next year or whenever it's cold. But if my hair is this length, it probably isn't going to happen because I don't do well with like things on my head in general, hats included. I do obviously wear them when it's like really sunny and in summer and whatever, but I avoid at all costs. Headbands, balaclavas, beanies, hats, all of it. I haven't been able to get it to work for me, but this was definitely something I needed to make. I think it took me like an hour to knit, so it's not like something I really hold super close to my heart or anything, but it was nice to kind of be able to wear something handmade on that hike. Okay, I've been waiting to talk about this one because I actually think this is the first time I'm talking about this on my channel. I don't even know if I've talked about this in a video yet. I might have shown it to you when it was in progress in one of my last videos, but I also I'm not sure. I really don't remember if I had even started it yet. I probably had, but I don't know. I don't remember how much of this I'd actually shown you. And I did finish it a few weeks ago, but I haven't filmed any videos where I've been showing my projects other than the last one where I was actually making the project you're about to see after this. But I have shown this on my Instagram, so it's not completely new, but yeah, I'm very excited to like be including it in this video and being able to show this to you on YouTube for the first time. It doesn't have a name yet, but this is my latest design. I am in the process of writing the pattern up as we speak. I was literally working on it yesterday, so I'm getting there. Testing call will be out soon. But yeah, it doesn't have a name at this stage. I don't know what to call it yet. Part of me wants to call it the Where's Wally jumper, but I probably won't call it that. That's kind of what it reminds me of. This is like one of my favorite designs I've ever done, specifically the back shaping. The detail, it's everything. I will talk about this more in another video because this is not the video to be rambling, but I'm so obsessed with how I've done this little detail around the back and it all just worked out so perfectly. I did German short row shaping again and I'm really, really happy with how it looks. And yeah, I also did this little like textured detail here where the cast on edge is like kind of sticking out to kind of keep up that striped look, which I'll explain more obviously in the actual pattern, but yeah, I just really love that. I love how the ribbing continues in the stripe pattern, and then I just did this like folded neckline, which I love. And I'm just obsessed. The fit is perfect. The way it blocked was just, it's just so good. The yarn is Cascade 220. I don't know the colorway names because I don't think they have colorway names, but it's the red, the pink and the white ones. I'm really excited to get this pattern written and get it out to you as soon as possible. That is the second last piece that I finished this year, and lucky last should come as no surprise to you if you watched my last video, which was my project vlog of actually knitting this piece. But this is my Riley tee if you weren't already aware and you haven't seen that video. I just finished this like last week, so as of filming this, I think I took it off the blocking mats a week ago. So very fresh, very new, but I've already worn it a bunch of times in this last week alone. So I'm sure this one is going to be on the heavy rotation this summer and this coming autumn as well, because this is knit in a DK weight yarn. So it's really quite a versatile piece. I mean, right now I'm even wearing it with like this singlet underneath, and I feel like as it gets a little bit cooler, that's like also an option just for that extra little bit of warmth. And yeah, I'm I had a lot more to say about this in my other videos, so I won't go into too much detail, but well, firstly, the pattern is by Rachel Knits Things. She is a designer who is actually not really very active anymore, but I found this pattern on Ravelry and I highly recommend the pattern. It's really, really, really well written, and personally, it fits me really well, so I definitely recommend it. It's actually a saddle shoulder with this beautiful twisted rib detailing along the shoulder and the sleeve, and it has nice little folded hem on the neckline, the hem at the bottom and on the sleeves. The yarn is from Yarn Cafe Creations. It's their Biscotti DK in the colorway Raspberry Taut. I used 3 skeins of this and I used every single bit of yarn that I had. I was definitely playing yarn chicken, but it all worked out in the end because it fits me perfectly. It is obviously, it's cropped, it's more cropped than the pattern suggests, but that's what happens when we're playing yarn chicken. But it's actually honestly the perfect fit. Like, this is like my ideal fit, I feel like, for a tee. The Heartstopper Tee is a little bit longer and maybe a little bit more modest, I guess, but this is like definitely my ideal, just like very nice and like casual fit. I've already worn it to work a few times. It's just perfect. The colorway is gorgeous. I'm obsessed with the speckles. Overall, very, very happy with this one, and definitely keen to try some more saddle shoulder construction pieces next year. I feel like it looks really nice as a tee, but even a jumper as well would look really nice. So I'm keen to kind of explore that construction a little bit more in the new year. And yeah, I'm just like always finding new things, which I feel like hopefully you've been able to kind of see with this video, with like all the pieces I've knit. Almost every single one has had some kind of like new element or something different, something that I've challenged myself with. And I feel really accomplished, and I feel like I've grown a lot and learned a lot and improved a lot as a knitter and as a designer this year. So overall, even though I only knit 22 pieces, that is the grand total, including the 2 that I didn't show you in this video. I feel like even though I only knit 22, which to some people might sound like a lot, but I feel like for comparison, last year I think I knit like 33 maybe, something like that. And then the year before I knit like 60 something, like 60 to 70. So I have obviously like knit a lot less this year, as I said, than I have in the previous years. So even though I only knit 22, which obviously I know that's still a lot, but comparatively I only knit 22 pieces, I still feel like I have really honed my skills this year, and I feel really accomplished and proud of everything that I made, and I'm really excited for next year. Surprise! I actually have another piece to show you. I filmed this video in the middle of December knowing it would take a long time to edit, and I really didn't think I was going to finish anything else before the end of the year. So I thought I was safe, but I actually ended up pulling myself together and finishing this piece. So I wanted to include it in this video, so I'm filming this like, I think it's December 29th, so I'm planning on getting this video out as soon as possible, but I wanted to quickly film this clip to talk about this final piece so that it is an accurate depiction of everything I made this year. It is one that I'm very excited about, but I am planning on making another one. I've already ordered yarn for it, and I'm going to knit it while I'm away in Perth if all goes to plan. So I'm hoping to finish that by the end of next month, and then I can write the pattern. But yeah, this is a new design. I just wanted to tweak some things, so that's why I'm making another one, but I am still pretty happy with how this first sample has come out. It doesn't have a name. I honestly very rarely actually come up with a name before I design something or before I write the pattern even. Usually that kind of comes to me a little bit later. This one hasn't quite come to me yet, so this is currently an unnamed tank top. It's actually my first ever tank top design, which I'm very, very, very excited about. I've been wanting to design a tank top for so long, but just haven't had the confidence, I guess, to do something with negative ease. I've never really designed with negative ease before either. So it's been kind of something that I've been always a little bit hesitant to dip my toes into. But I finally had like a design idea that I felt was like really worth pushing myself out of my comfort zone to hopefully achieve. So this is it. As you can see, it has cabled edges, so that was like the main idea. I mean, you can see my bra straps. This is one of the things I am hopefully going to be fixing in the second sample. I'm hoping to make it so you can't see bra straps at all, or any bra at all under the arm. I just need to like fix a few little things here and there to make that the case, but I feel like for the most part I did a decent job. Some tank tops, you know, the straps are like here, so I feel like it's almost there, but not quite. But yeah, anyway, ignore the bra straps. But yeah, you can see it has these gorgeous cabled edges built in, and then also I feel like the lighting isn't really doing it justice, but the ribbing, maybe if I like turn this way you can see a bit better. Yeah, the ribbing is also like a cabled ribbing, and it is the same at the bottom as well. So yeah, this is the design. It's like still pretty basic and has a pretty simple construction and is like still like a pretty mindless tank top knit, but it kind of has that extra little detail with the cabled edges. And also I didn't mention that the cables run all the way down the side of the top as well. So I thought that was like a fun little detail. I knit this sample using yarn from Skip Rope, which I bought in Canberra back in March when I was there for the Australian Yarn Show. I think this might be my first knit that I've made with yarn that I bought then, which is crazy because I did buy a decent amount of yarn, but it's also pretty and I've just kind of been waiting for the right project, but finally found a use for this one. It's this really beautiful, and it's very hard to photograph. That's another reason I want to make another one, just because it's really hard to kind of like capture this color correctly. And also I feel like, yeah, the camera just kind of gets a little bit confused, but it's this like, I guess it's kind of like an eggplant, kind of pinky purple. I kind of alternate between calling it purple or pink because I can't really decide. It's one of those like very eye of the beholder, like in between the two kind of colors, but it is really, really pretty. And it's got a little bit of variegation. It's not like the most consistent, like throughout the top there's quite a bit of variegation, but as we kind of go further into the body, it's like less apparent. I didn't alternate skeins, so maybe that's why, but I kind of just let the yarn do its thing. But yeah, it's just like her basic sock yarn, and I'm pretty sure it's just like a limited edition color because it didn't have a colorway name on the label. So I think it's just like a limited edition color. Yeah, I'm gonna probably make my next sample a little bit shorter just because this one kind of does go a little bit over where my shorts waistline is, and I prefer it to not be overlapping. I don't really want to have to like tuck it in because then you don't get to see the pretty cables at the bottom. And like I said, I'm gonna try and fix the shaping a little bit around here. I did actually include bust shaping in this, but I think just the way it blocked, it's kind of like if I want the bra to not be showing, then it gapes a little bit over here. Whereas if I pull it down, which also makes it longer, which I don't want, then that kind of smooths that out. But yeah, then you can really see my bra. So I am going to fix those things because I really do want to include bust shaping so that it can be quite form-fitting throughout, but I also want this to be like the length that I want it to be. It's worked top down, so the length is definitely going to be adjustable depending on your preference. But yeah, it's kind of like this armhole shaping that I really want to fix. And now that I have a blocked version, I feel like I've got a really good sense of how this yarn behaves as a whole garment. So sometimes my gauge swatches, they lie. I feel like I really should be able to get a second sample knit up fairly quickly that will fix these issues. So I'm very excited about it, and this will be my third pattern release of 2025 at this stage because I've got the party Cardi vest, which will come early 2025, and then I've got that stripy jumper that I need to get written up, tested, and released, and then this one as well. So we're starting 2025 off on a good note when it comes to pattern releases, hopefully much more frequent pattern releases coming next year than I had this year. Not including the book that I released that had 18 patterns, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I kind of always forget that I did that because I wrote them all last year, but they still released this year, so I can't be too hard on myself. But anyway, I just wanted to quickly come in and show you this one. Back to past me. Thank you so much for watching, and also thank you so much for supporting me this year, especially the first half of the year. I feel like I was posting so much, so thank you so much to everyone who watched all these videos and has supported my YouTube journey and just my knitting journey in general. Thank you to everyone who has bought my book or bought any of my patterns. Your support means the absolute world to me, and I'm just so grateful to be able to do this as a job. But I also am just, as hopefully it comes across, I am really passionate about knitting and especially about designing at the moment. I'm really like enjoying really like seeing what I can do and pushing myself and just trying to get better. And yeah, I hope that's like coming across. But anyway, yeah, thank you so much for everyone who has supported me this year and for watching this video. If you made it to the end, you are a real one. I really am excited about next year and to bring you more content and more designs and to see where the year takes us, because honestly you just never know what's going to happen, so I'm not going to kind of make too many predictions because who really knows. But I think I'm excited about next year. I think it's going to be a good year, some exciting things to come, and yeah, I hope you'll come along with me for the journey. If you know how many pieces you knit this year, let me know in the comments. Also just let me know what you were working on while you're watching this video, because I always love to see and it makes me like feel a little bit more connected with you guys. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you're not already. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok, even though I think that might be getting banned in the US, so I don't really post on there. I'm probably going to continue not to post on there because who knows where that's going, but Follow me on Instagram, subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you very soon in 2025.